Chief Executive John Lee visits an East Kowloon neighborhood for his September 17th policy address prep. A building fire in North Point turns deadly. And making history, Hong Kong tennis star Coleman Wong becomes the city's first Grand Slam main draw player at the US Open since the Open era. Good evening. You're watching Cable News. I'm Evelyn Bai. Slated to deliver his fourth policy address on September 17th, Chief Executive John Lee visited the East Kowloon neighborhood of Ngau Tau Kok and interacted with residents. Jamie Liu reports.
Lee's first stop was a light public housing estate, which aims to offer transitional units to people in poor housing while waiting for a public flat. He joined Housing Secretary Winnie Ho to visit residents, including this man and his family. He said he was honored to meet Lee and described his home as having a view of the mid-levels. The city chief then toured around the estate and inspected some smart facilities, while also checking out a weekend's bazaar and a resident's message board. This estate on Choi Hing Road offers some 2,000 units with move-ins beginning since June, according to the housing chief as she briefed Lee on the project. The city leader said he was glad to see residents, especially children, have room to live, play, and grow. Bye-bye. Lee later joined Labour and Welfare Secretary Chris Sun in Lower Ngau Tau Kok Estate to talk to elderly residents. A woman urged the chief executive to keep the $2 fare for people over 60. The $2 fare will continue, the CE replied. He then stopped by a health service booth set up by care teams and pledged to lead the government in a quick pace to solve problems. He stayed there for nearly an hour before ending the community visit. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Meanwhile, John Lee has for the first time responded to the government's drinking water procurement scandal, in which a $52.9 million tender was awarded without fraudulent documents being detected. Lee said he was very disappointed by the failure of the government logistics department, adding that any human negligence will be dealt with seriously. Jeremy Zhu reports.
Speaking to the press, the city leader said the government must urgently identify shortcomings and improve systems and procedures to prevent similar incidents. He emphasized the need for greater vigilance and the ability to detect fraud during the vetting process. Lee also stressed that every cent of public money must be used properly, saying that value for money does not simply mean choosing the cheapest tender, but also considering what value a bid could bring and whether it meets the government's needs. With the Financial Services and the Treasury Bureau setting up a cross-departmental task force to review the incident and overhaul procurement procedures, the chief executive said he has instructed the group to complete its work as soon as possible and to examine whether authorities can explore using technology to verify bidding companies' backgrounds. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
At least one died and another was injured as a 70-year-old man succumbed to severe burns after a fire broke out in a building on Kings Road in North Point. Smoke was seen billowing from the affected flat as firefighters raised an aerial ladder to tackle the blaze. The injured were seen being carried on stretchers and placed into an ambulance. The fire service received a report at 4:15 p.m. regarding the flat fire at Nido Apartments, located at number 330 Kings Road. Due to the fire, Kings Road towards Causeway Bay, specifically the section near North View Street, has been fully closed. Hong Kongers once again have to brace for a stormy Sunday with a few squally showers and thunderstorms, as the standby signal number 1 will remain in force at least until 9 a.m. tomorrow under the influence of Tropical Storm Kajiki. The observatory said Kajiki will move towards the waters south of the Hainan Island. It is forecast to be the closest to Hong Kong tonight, skirting around 500 kilometers to the south of the city.
Unless Kajiki undergoes rapid intensification significantly or adopts a more northerly track, the standby signal number 1 will remain in force at least until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Secretary for Labour Chris Sun has vowed to tighten oversight of the labour importation scheme, warning there will be no tolerance for employers who break the rules. The pledge follows the discovery of a suspected case where a local worker was allegedly dismissed after an imported worker was hired. Jeremy Zhu reports.
Talking exclusively to iCable News, Sun acknowledged the suspected case and stated that there is already substantial evidence indicating the employer engaged in such practices. He confirmed that after verification, details will be made public and administrative sanctions will be imposed on the employer. These include suspending all new applications for non-local labor and barring the employer from reapplying for 1 year. Under the current enhanced supplementary labor scheme, employers are required to conduct a 4-week local recruitment process for vacancies before applying to import workers. The labor chief revealed that the authorities plan to introduce a new requirement next month, demanding employers to conduct on-the-ground recruitment at the Labor Department's job centers for positions such as waiters and junior chefs. He said this measure would make it easier to match job seekers with employers, potentially reducing the need to hire non-local workers. Meanwhile, Sun reminded employers not to risk breaking the law by hiring illegal workers, noting that the problem has shown signs of worsening in the city. He stressed that employing illegal labor is a criminal offense and that the Labor Department will work closely with law enforcement agencies to combat the practice. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
Secretary for Health Lo Chong-mao refuted online rumors claiming that the University of Science and Technology has been approved to establish the city's 3rd medical school, as further study is underway. The health minister also highlighted the need for stronger regulation of telehealth services. 3 universities, the Baptist University, the Polytechnic University, and the University of Science and Technology, submitted proposals for the 3rd medical school in March, while recent online speculation said HKUST had already received approval. Lo clarified that no decision has been made. Taking to the airwaves, he noted that the financial plans proposed by the universities vary substantially, requiring careful consideration during the evaluation. The health chief emphasized that the goal does not solely lie in choosing the cheapest option, but also in cautioning against excessively high levels of funding. A final result is expected within the year. Separately, the Consumer Council reported that telehealth services lack regulation, prompting the need to enhance transparency. Lo stressed that quality and safety should be prioritized over convenience.
I'd like to remind our citizens that when they they have a health issue and want to seek health care advice, they should ensure that whether they see the doctor personally in person or via electronic media, they have to ensure that the person concerned is a qualified registered practitioner, whether it's a Western medicine doctor or a Chinese medicine practitioner.
Addressing the Tobacco Control Legislation Amendment Bill, he expressed confidence that the bill will pass its 2nd and 3rd readings in the Legislative Council next month. The United Nations has officially declared a famine in the Gaza Strip, with 500,000 people in catastrophic hunger. But Israel rejected the findings as an outright lie and blamed Hamas for the crisis. Jamie Liu has more.
Nearly 2 years into the Gaza conflict, the humanitarian crisis is deepening. In its latest assessment, the UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase classification confirmed that Gaza City and its surrounding areas are suffering from famine. This means over 500,000 people are enduring catastrophic conditions, the most severe level on the IPC scale, marked by starvation, destitution, and death. The report expected famine to spread south across the Strip in the coming weeks. This marked a grim milestone that the Hunger Monitor has confirmed a famine in the Middle East. Only 4 previous famines have been declassified by the IPC, the most recent in Sudan in 2024. In a statement, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called the crisis a man-made disaster and failure of humanity. He called for an immediate ceasefire to the war in Gaza. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected the famine declaration, calling it an outright lie. He accused Palestinian military group Hamas of orchestrating a starvation campaign and insisted Israel's humanitarian efforts in Gaza have been ignored. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
U.S. President Donald Trump said Chicago could receive similar treatment from the federal government as Washington, D.C., where nearly 2,000 National Guard troops have been deployed to crack down on dangerous crimes. Jeremy Zhu has more.
Speaking to the press, Trump claimed that the operation to improve security in the U.S. Capitol had been a great success, describing Washington as a miracle that had become safe and beautiful again.
D.C. was a hellhole, and now it's safe. I hate to say this because it doesn't sound very good, but there have been no murders in D.C. in the last week. That's the first time in anybody's memory that you haven't had a murder in a week.
Trump also warned Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser to get her act straight or she won't be mayor very long. He suggested the district could be taken over by the federal government and returned to what it should be. Meanwhile, the president moved on to criticize Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's leadership and suggested the city could be next in line for federal intervention.
We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, and we'll straighten that one out probably next.
Trump claimed that many Chicago residents were eagerly waiting for a federal takeover, dismissing polls showing opposition to a National Guard presence as fake news. In response, Mayor Johnson said he would take the remarks seriously, but confirmed no formal contact had been made by federal authorities. Johnson also emphasized that serious crime had fallen significantly in recent years, calling the potential deployment unreasonable and unnecessary, and warning it could raise tensions rather than build safer communities. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
In the U.S. state of New York, a tour bus carrying 54 people crashed on a highway and overturned, killing 5 people and injuring 30 others, including 6 Chinese nationals. On its way returning from a sightseeing at Niagara Falls to New York City, the bus lost control on Interstate 90 near Pembroke. Some people were ejected, with 5 people died at the scene. The injured were rushed to hospitals by ambulances and medical helicopters. Among the 54 people on the bus, 2 are the employees of the bus company, including the driver, while the rest of the passengers were mostly from China, India, and the Philippines. The Chinese consulate in New York said 5 of the 6 Chinese citizens sustained minor injuries, but 1 remains in serious condition. New York police said the operator, who survived the collision, has been cooperative and the investigation is still underway.
It's believed the operator became distracted, lost control, overcorrected, and ended up on the right shoulder there. My last update, no one else was in a life-threatening status. Multiple people were treated and subsequently released already.
On to the weather now. Becoming cloudy with a few squally showers and thunderstorms. More showers at first. Sunny intervals during the day tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 26 and 31 degrees. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.